I have always believed that life is made of repeating moments, the same sunrise, the same office routine, the same slow walks home, until something unexpected slips in and breaks the pattern. Some people get a promotion. Some get a sudden loss. Some find out they are sick. And then there are people like me, who meet a stranger one night and discover a part of themselves they did not know was still alive. His name was Williams. I know almost nothing else about him. Not his birthday, not his middle name, not whether he prefers coffee or tea. All I know is the sound of his breathing in the cold night air, the way he looked at me like he already knew my sadness, and the warmth of his arms when he pulled me close, an embrace that felt less like contact and more like rescue. I don't know why I'm starting this diary now. Maybe because the memory is beginning to fade around the edges, like an old photograph left too long in the sun. Maybe because I am afraid to forget something I should remember. Or maybe because writing makes the loneliness quieter. Whatever the reason, I will try to put it all down. Even the parts that hurt. Even the parts one wish I could hold on to forever. It was raining that night. Not the gentle kind that dances on windows, but the heavy kind that hits the ground like thrown stones. The kind of weather that makes people hurry inside or hold their jackets close. I was walking home after a long, pointless day at work, the kind of day that makes you question everything, your job, your decisions, your entire life. I remember thinking about how empty my apartment would be when I got home. How the silence inside those walls had begun to feel like a voice telling me I had somehow missed something important in life. My friends were getting married, getting promoted, having babies, or moving somewhere new. And I was just drifting. I cut through the small park on 7th Street, even though the rain had turned the path muddy. I didn't care. My shoes were already soaked. My hair was stuck to my face. My heart was too heavy to mind anything else. And that was when I saw him. He was standing under a broken street lamp. The dim orange light flickered above him, making his shadow jump at his feet. He wasn't trying to hide from the rain. He wasn't rushing anywhere. He was just standing there, like he had nowhere left to be. I don't know what made me slow down. Maybe curiosity, maybe recognition of something familiar in his posture, a certain tiredness, a loneliness shaped like my own. He looked up when he heard my footsteps, and our eyes met. He didn't smile. I didn't either. But something passed between us, a kind of silent understanding that people usually take years to reach. I would later think about that moment many times. How strange it was, how impossible, how human. Two people in the rain, both running from something, both stopping at the same broken street lamp. "Long night," he asked finally. His voice was deep, but soft. Like he had been talking to himself for years and had almost forgotten how to address another person. "Yes," I said. "A very long night." We stood there for a moment, two strangers sharing a thin line of shelter under that flickering light. I don't recall every word we exchanged, only the feeling, the strange comfort of finally being seen by someone who owed you nothing. I should write this part carefully. Not to hide anything, but to make sure I honor it properly. After talking for a while, he asked if I wanted to walk with him. Not in a pushy way. Not in a suggestive way. Just a quiet offer, like he was inviting me to breathe again. I said yes. I don't know why I trusted him. Or maybe I didn't trust him. Maybe I just trusted myself for the first time in a long while. We walked along the park path, which had turned into a dark mirror of puddles. The rain softened, the wind cooled, and the city lights blurred behind the water in the air. He told me his name, Williams. I told him mine, Angela. We didn't trade life stories. We traded small truths, enough to feel real but not enough to feel exposed. At some point we stopped under a gazebo. The rain stopped too, but neither of us moved. My hands were cold, and he noticed. He offered his jacket, and when I stepped forward to take it, our hands brushed. It should have been a small thing. A simple accident, but it felt like something broke quietly inside me, like a locked door finally creaked open. I leaned my head against his chest. He didn't ask why. He didn't step back. He just held me, slowly, as if he were afraid I might shatter if he held too tightly. And it was in that embrace, quiet, soft, warm, that everything in me gave way. My loneliness, my confusion, my exhaustion, my longing, I felt it all collapse into him. It was not desire that brought us together that night. It was need, the need to feel human again, to feel wanted, to feel alive. What happened later was not wild, not careless, and not something I regret. It was gentle. It was simple. It was two hurting hearts reaching for warmth in a cold world. And though I will not write the details, I will say this: it was the first time in years that I felt safe in someone's arms. A one-time encounter. A stranger. Yet somehow, in that moment, he was the closest thing to home I had felt in a long time. Afterward, we didn't make promises. We didn't exchange numbers. Not because we didn't want to, but because something inside us understood that this night was not meant to belong to the future. It was meant to belong only to itself. He kissed my forehead before we parted. That kiss hurt more than anything else. Not because it was painful, but because it was tender, too tender for two people who would soon return to their separate lives. He whispered, "Thank you for tonight, Angela." I don't know why those words made me cry. Maybe because I had expected him to say something else, or maybe because I realized how long it had been since anyone had thanked me for simply being present. I wanted to say something back. Something perfect. Something that would hold the weight of the moment. But all I managed was, "Take care, Williams." Then he walked away. I watched his silhouette disappear down the wet street until I couldn't tell the difference between his fading figure and the shadows around him. I stood there long after he was gone, the night suddenly feeling too big, too quiet, too real. And that was how our one-time encounter ended, without a dramatic goodbye, without a promise, without even a last look. Just a quiet parting between two people trying to hide their own fractures from the world. Days have passed, but it feels like only minutes. I have been living inside the memory of that night like it is a room inside my heart. I open the door each morning, walk through the moments again, and close the door at night, trying not to cling too tightly. But I do cling. I cling more than I should. I don't know why he walked into my life. I don't know why I walked into his. Maybe the universe knew something we didn't. Maybe we were meant to share only a fragment of time, not a lifetime. But here is the hard truth. Sometimes one night is enough to change everything. Not because it lasts, but because it teaches you something you didn't know you needed to learn. From Williams, I learned this. There is power in an embrace. There is healing in being held. There is beauty in moments that do not belong to forever. Love doesn't need a future to matter. Sometimes it only needs a present. I keep wondering what his life looks like now. Did he go back to someone waiting for him? Did he get on a plane? Did he start over somewhere else? Or is he walking through another rainy street, meeting another stranger who needs a reason to breathe? I don't know. I will never know. That is the sacrifice in moments like these. You give up the comfort of answers in exchange for the miracle of connection. And the pain. Yes, there is pain. A soft, steady ache like a bruise under the skin. But it is an honest pain, and maybe that is why I accept it. I have learned more from that ache than from years of routine. People would judge me if they knew. They would say it was foolish, risky, irresponsible. They would tell me that love, or whatever we call this, cannot grow from one night with a stranger. But they don't understand that some encounters are not measured in time. They are measured in impact. Williams left something behind. Not a promise, not a memory of passion, but a reminder that I am still capable of feeling deeply. That I am not invisible. That someone, even for one night, saw me and reached for me. And I held him too. Sometimes I think of how tightly he held me, like he was afraid of something he never said out loud. He had his own pains, his own ghosts, his own silent wounds. I felt them even when he didn't speak them. Maybe I wasn't the only one saved that night. I had a dream about him. We were standing under the broken street lamp again, but this time the light didn't flicker, it stayed steady and warm. He smiled in the dream, something he never fully did that night. When I woke up, I cried. Not because I missed him, but because I realized something important. It was never about wanting a future with him. It was about needing that moment with him. He was a chapter, not the book. A breath, not the whole lung. A drop of warmth in a long, cold winter. And sometimes that is enough. Sometimes that is everything. Tonight I finally did something I had been avoiding. I walked back to the same park, the same broken street lamp, the same path. I told myself I was not hoping to see him. Maybe I lied to myself a little. But mostly, I just wanted to stand where my heart changed. The lamp was still broken. The ground was dry. The night was colder. I stood there for a long time and whispered into the empty air. Thank you, not to him, exactly, but to the moment, to the universe, to the version of myself who was brave enough to accept comfort when she needed it. Then, for the first time, I let the memory settle without fighting it. I will not forget him. But I will not chase him either. Some encounters are not meant to be repeated. Some stories do not need sequels. Some embraces are powerful because they happen only once. That is the truth I have learned, the truth that is both beautiful and painful. I am moving forward now. Not healed, but healing. Not whole, but awakening. And if I ever meet him again, by chance or by fate, I will smile. Not because I want him back, but because I will always be grateful. Our story was short, but it mattered. It mattered more than some long stories people spend years trying to force into meaning. What we shared was simple, tender, fragile, like holding a candle in the wind. You protect it for as long as it burns, and when it goes out, you do not curse the darkness. You cherish the light it gave while it could. This diary ends here, but the lesson remains. Love does not always stay. Sacrifice is sometimes silent. Pain can be gentle, and an embrace, even a brief one, can change a life. My life. And that is why this ending is bittersweet. Because the sorrow and the gratitude exist together, holding hands in the quiet corner of my heart. Goodbye, Williams. Thank you for the night that reminded me I am still alive.